for today's math lesson, the question that you're going to need to answer is Bella or Bean. So when you come into class tomorrow, you need to show me the math, and your answer is either going to be Bella or Bean. And I guess I should probably introduce you to this ferocious beast that is on my shoulder. Her name is Bean. So, say hi, Bean. And then Bella ran out because she's hungry. So the question that you're going to answer today is Bella or Bean, but what's the question? Bella is a chunky cat. She weighs 16.2 pounds. And Bean is a little squirrely thing, and she weighs 8.6 pounds. So the question is, when the zombie apocalypse comes, if I need to choose between eating Bella or eating Bean, which one do I eat? That's the essential question for today. Okay, the question was, would you eat Bella or Bean? So you're going to be able to answer that by the end of this lesson. Our objective is I will be able to compare numbers and put them in order. That's what you'll know how to do by the time you get done with this lesson. So, we'll start out looking at some place values. So if you have your math book and you're looking at page 6, it gives you this number. It's the world population as of 2000, well, projected for 2015. So, the number is 7,202,516,136. And so, we have this little chart, and basically we put the numbers where they belong. And what we need to realize in this lesson is that a number right here is not the same worth as a number right here. For example, would you rather have 6 ones, or would you rather have $6,000 bills? I'm guessing that you would want 6,000. So whenever we look at a number, we need to just consider its place value. And so, one thing that always drives me nuts is when I see a student who looks at a number and gets so overwhelmed by, well, there's all those numbers, how in the world do I say it? Well, all you have to do is break the number up in between all these commas. So we start out here, these first 3 are going to be the ones. These next 3 are going to be thousands, and millions, and billions, then trillions, and so on. So when we look at this, you have a 1 in the hundreds column, 3 in the tens, and 6. So it's just 136. Well, then if we're considering these 3 numbers, there's 516, it's in the thousands column. So for that part, we just say 516,000. There's 202 in the millions. And as you see, if you forget, you can just look at the commas. So 202 million. And then all there is 7 in the billions. So to say that whole number, we would just say 7,202,516,136. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 2 different numbers, or more than 2 different numbers, and we're going to compare them. And the first way we're going to do it is by place value. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 2 numbers. Let's look at 516, and let's look at 546. So if we're looking at them with place value, first thing we want to do is we want to line them up so that they're lined up and their place values are on top of each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with the ones. We're going to line up the ones. So we have 516, and then we have 546. We need to make sure that the ones columns are lined up with each other. So then, once we get them lined up, we start at the furthest left number. You see that they both have a number in the tens column, and they both have a number in the hundreds column. And they don't have any numbers other than that. So the first thing, since hundreds are much larger than tens and ones, we just look at the hundreds column here. And since they are the same in the hundreds column, that means so far they're the same. And then we go to the next one. We go start going to the right. The next is the tens column. And so, on 516 we have a 1 in the tens column. 546 we have a 4 in the tens column. So, obviously, 546, since 4 is bigger than 1, 546 is greater than 516. So, let's look at a bigger number here. Let's look at, let's say, 54,126. We're going to compare that to 9,242. So, you notice I lined them up. I lined up the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and so on. So I look at the biggest number. Now, the biggest number on 54,000 is in the 10,000s column. Well, if I look in the 10,000s column here, is there anything there? No, there's not. So that means there's basically a 0 there. Well, 5 is obviously bigger. So even though the biggest number there is 9, 5 in the 10,000s column is much bigger than 9 in the 1,000s column. So 54,126 is greater than 9,242. So, I want you to write this next one down and solve it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write it out and explain what I want you to do, and then you're going to pause and you're going to solve it, and then we're going to check it together. So, we're going to compare 618,121 to 618,562. So I want you to use the place value that I just showed you, and I want you to solve the problem. So right now, pause it, and I want you to write a problem that says 600. I'm going to cut this part out, maybe. Either that or I won't. I want you to tell me which one is greater. Is it 618,562 or is it 618,121? Okay, pause, solve. Okay, so when we look at the numbers, we have them lined up. I already helped you out. I lined them up in the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Look at 100,000s, they're the same, so we go on. Look at the ones, or the 10,000s, they're both ones, we go on. Thousands column, they're the same, we go on. Hundreds column, we have 5 here and 1 here. So that means that this number has to be bigger. So that would be our larger number. So, the other way that you can do it is you can use a number line. So, if we look at the numbers 58 and 64, for example, on a number line, remember on a number line, numbers to the left should always be smaller than numbers to the right. It gets bigger as it goes to the right. So, if we had 50, 60, 70, let's put those on a number line. 58 is more than 50 but less than 60, so it's going to be right about there. 64 is more than 60, less than 70, it's going to be right about there. So obviously, which one has to be larger? 64. So let's look at a larger number. Let's compare 178 to 162. So we'll make our number line so 162, that's going to be right about here. 178, it's going to be right about here. So, which one's larger? If the larger numbers are to the right, then 178 has to be larger. So, that's basically all there is to it today. Now, the other thing that you need to know going into this lesson, I'm not sure if it makes you do it, but it's on page 6, is just a different way we write numbers. So the three different ways that we write them is standard form, we write expanded, and we write word form. Standard is just what you normally deal with when we're doing our math problems. So if we do 182, for example, expanded, what we do is we break it into the place values. So we start with the largest one. We don't have to spell out 100. All we're looking at is that place value. 1 in the hundreds column is 100. Plus, then we go to the next column, it's the tens column. There's 8 in the tens column, that means it's 80. And then we go to the next one. It's in the ones column, and it's a 2, so all that means is 2. So that's how it does. That's how it wants you to write it if it says expanded form. And then the last one is word form. So that's just say it out loud and then you spell it out. So 182. So we write 100. $82. And that's all there is to it. So if you need a little bit more of an explanation, if you didn't quite understand, you have two options. You can either go back, rewind, watch it again, or if you have questions, just come in the morning and ask me. I'll be happy to answer. So, again, you need to make sure that you solve that problem that I did earlier on the board, and then you need to have an answer when you come in tomorrow morning. You need to say whether you're going to eat Bella or Bean. And if you don't remember what the question is, you can rewind to the beginning. We'll see you tomorrow.